Good night. Welcome, 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 welcome. Missing people in Jamaica is becoming a trend. Before I get into the show, please screenshot that, share it, share this video. Okay? Share this video. The Devil's Plan for Jamaica. Number 28 is reference to the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Number 28 has launched an attack on our children, as the title says, right? Number 28 has launched an attack on our kids, man, and their future. This is the facts. This is the reality. And we're going to get into it. Marlon Malahoo, Andrew Holness, and the prophets they've been speaking, they've been urging, they have been warning. And people take these warnings as it's something bad. I encourage you guys to understand that this is something great. This is something good. If there wasn't a warning, then you could not prepare. I just want to use this opportunity tonight, whenever you see this, and if this stays up, because what I'm about to go into, man, listen, these are the type of videos that they don't send out notifications for. I'm telling you right now. So the few that will be in here or any amount that sees this video, I encourage you to not only hit the like button immediately, but I encourage you to share the live with as many people as you can. Because this is very, very, very important. Now, many might say, Bolo, what are you talking about? Well, let's break it down. Let's break it down. Let me see. Nah, this thing ain't working. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all forgive me. I don't like dysfunction. Let me see. Okay. Okay. There we go. Ooh, now it paused. What is that? All right, there's some type of short in the wire or something. I don't know, but I'm gonna move on from that. I ain't gonna let that deter me or slow me down right now because it's late and I gotta get through this as swiftly and as effectively as possible. Guys, please remember to like and share the video if you want to support the platform. Do remember that the donation link is pinned at the top of the comment section. This is the way you support. Now, for all the the people that support the JLP that are in denial, understand this. The Samoa agreement has been signed. People is asking, what is Samoa agreement? Well, it has to do with language towards the colorful community, educating the population about their lifestyle, and the population, including your kids in school, in actual education and sex education. This is what it's all about. This agreement was signed December 14, 2023. So, when you see the pastor come out and say, you people that is supporting the JLP is supporting a colorful government, that's what he's talking about. And let's go even further back to show you the inception of when this occurred before this agreement was signed. It happened right here, ladies and gentlemen, on a program, Good Morning Britain, where the Prime Minister was asked about Jamaican stance on the colorful community. So let's go to the facts and evidence, why don't we? Let's listen to this.
Cabinet Office Minister David Lidington had said that there is no evidence that people have been deported. But I wonder, and the Home Office is investigating, obviously, but I wonder if you are also investigating whether people actually have been deported and taken
We
back
can't
to
say,
Jamaica.
we don't have any evidence of that, but we do have cases where there are persons who came to Jamaica, were unable to go back.
How many of those cases do you think?
Strongly against discrimination. The truth is, we've seen cases come up in the media. If we in Jamaica believe strongly against discrimination, the truth is that our history has been one where we as a people have been discriminated against. So the conversation about tolerance, protecting people's rights, particularly human rights, is one that we take seriously.
Here it comes.
And Jamaica is evolving. 10 years ago, there would have been a much harder line on the issue of homosexuality, particularly from a religious.
There would be a much harder line. You don't say. You don't say, Mr. Holmes.
Many of those cases, do you think?
I don't have the definitive numbers here, but we have seen cases come up in the media. If we in Jamaica believe strongly against discrimination, the truth is that our history has been one where we as a people have been discriminated against. So the conversation about tolerance, protecting people's rights, particularly human rights, is one that we take seriously. And Jamaica is evolving. 10 years ago, there would have been a much harder line on the issue of homosexuality, particularly from a religious perspective.
Yeah.
But I think that over the last 10 years of conversation, the society is openly discussing the issue, and views are changing. The church in Jamaica does not have a unified position. It is evolving. There is discussion in our parliament now.
I'm sorry, but I gotta stop it right there. This man mentioned the church. This man mentioned the church is evolving. I'm trying to figure out how can a church evolve from God's word as it was written in its original state? I want y'all to answer me that. All right? Answer me that.
Regarding the change to a specific piece of
Would you like
legislation.
personally, as the Prime Minister, to see it decriminalised?
What I would like to see is the process being further opened to bring more people into the discussion. It is a very sensitive issue, but my job as a Prime Minister is to ensure that the human rights of every single person within the country is protected and that the constitutional rights are guaranteed.
It's hard not to feel discriminated against if something about your very identity is deemed illegal.
Well, the truth is, and as I've said, not just in Jamaica, but in other countries, there is a process that is taking place. And what I would want the rest of the world to recognize is that there is a legal process that we are going through.
So there's a legal process that they're going through to make sure that those people are comfortable. Discrimination will never go away, but their focus is those people, the colorful community. It's not about discrimination, ladies and gentlemen, respectfully. That's not what it's about. It's about implementation. It's about implementing their sexual indoctrination on our children. That's what it's about. This is the devil's plan. This is the devil's plan for Jamaica and for the world. And Andrew Holness has been the initiate, right? Him and this lady, Minister of Foreign Affairs, she's right there up in it, right? That's her field right there, right? So there's going to be education, gender dysphoria. We're going to really get into it tonight. Like and share the video.
And it helps really when we have this kind of conversation and it is done in a way where there's also respect for the process. Remember, it took the UK many years, centuries, to change your laws. And we're going through that process. We're in different stages.
Can you see a point where it will be decriminalised?
My view is that the generations are changing. Their access to information, they're traveling more, they're experiencing more, and they have a stronger view, as I said, about discriminating against people. So I think where we have a commonality is that there should be no discrimination. But I think there should also be a respect for the process that is taking place in Jamaica as a democratic society, as a society that believes in freedom and the protection of human rights.
Prime Minister, let me just ask you generally about the Commonwealth and how important you view it. And
so that's that right there. It's clear you heard it. The process was initiated from that point. That was years ago, before 2023, when they actually signed the Samoa Agreement. Where I want to take you now, ladies and gentlemen, is into a deep, like I said, the Samoa Agreement has been signed. It's right there, December 14, 2023. It tells you right here exactly where it happened. All right. And who signed it on behalf of the Jamaican government. It's funny how the Jamaican people was not told about this. This is why I want y'all to share this, y'all. I want y'all to share this with everybody. All those people that are in denial, all those people that think and think they understand what this actually is. I was watching a video from Hot Off the Press. Her research uncovered that it is a irrefutable document that cannot be put like you can't change it, basically, right? There's no way. It's a 20-year thing and it can't be changed. Now what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go to my childhood was ruined. Detransitioner. Y'all listen to this. This is what they want to bring to our children in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Yeah, discrimination between right and wrong. Exactly. This is what they want to bring to our kids. Let me just say this. We had an opportunity to learn from other people's mistakes, right? Other countries' mistakes. When you see the amount of, just go on YouTube and type in detransitioner. That's all you got to go on YouTube and type, and you will see the many stories, all different types of situation surrounding this push for gender dysphoria. What the doctors diagnosed. I'm not even going to go into it. I'm just going to let you hear from these people, from them themselves.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I'm a detransitioner. Another way to put that would be, I used to believe that I was born in the wrong body, and the adults in my life whom I trusted affirmed my belief, and this caused me lifelong, irreversible harm. I speak to you today as a victim of one of the biggest medical scandals in the history of the United States of America.
Wow.
I speak to you in the hope that you will have the courage to bring the scandal to an end.
Wow.
And ensure that other vulnerable teenagers, children, and young adults don't.
You heard what she said? A medical scandal. And I hope that you bring this to an end. This same medical scandal through the Samoa Agreement is what Andrew Holness has opened up a can of worms to Jamaica. My Jamaican people, understand the failure of this thing has been documented. But Andrew Holness, for whatever reason, in my belief and estimate, it's got to be money that they dangle in front of him. Because he loves money. And this entire government, they all sellouts, in my opinion, right? They love money, right? The love of money is the root of all evil. So now they have sold out our children and our children's children future. All right? So listen to this.
Don't go through what My name is Chloe Cole, and I'm a detransitioner. Another way to put that would be, I used to believe that I was born in the wrong body, and the adults in my life whom I trusted affirmed my belief, and this caused me lifelong, irreversible harm. I speak to you today as a victim of one of the biggest medical scandals in the history of the United States of America. I speak to you in the hope that you will have the courage to bring the scandal to an end, and ensure that other vulnerable teenagers, children, and young adults don't go through what I went through.
Wow.
At the age of 12, I began to experience what my medical team would later diagnose as gender dysphoria. I was well into an early puberty, and I was very uncomfortable with the changes that were happening to my body. I was intimidated by male attention, and when I told my parents that I felt like a boy, in retrospect, all I meant was that I hated puberty, that I wanted this newfound sexual attention to go away, that I looked up to my brothers a little bit more than I did to my sisters. I came out as transgender in a letter I sent on the dining room table. My parents were immediately concerned. They felt like they needed to get outside help from medical professionals, but this proved to be a mistake. It immediately set our entire family down a path of ideologically motivated deceit and coercion. The gender specialist I was taken to see told my parents that I needed to be put on puberty-blocking drugs right away. They asked my parents a simple question. Would you rather have a dead daughter or a living transgender son?
What a question to ask a parent. Do y'all see the manipulation? Boy, I tell you.
The choice was enough for my parents to let their guard down, and in retrospect, I can't blame them. This was the moment that we all became victims of so-called gender-affirming care.
Exactly.
I was fast-tracked onto puberty blockers and then testosterone. The resulting menopausal-like hot flashes made focusing on school impossible. I still get joint pains and weird pops in my back, but they were far worse when I was on the blockers. A month later, when I was 13, I had my first testosterone injection. It's caused permanent changes to my body. My voice will forever be deeper, my jawline sharper, my nose longer, my bone structure permanently masculinized, my Adam's apple more prominent, my fertility unknown. I look in the mirror sometimes and I feel like a monster. I had a double mastectomy at 15. They tested my amputated breast for cancer. And I was cancer-free, of course. I was perfectly healthy. There was nothing wrong with my still developing body or my breasts, other than that, as an insecure teenage girl, I felt awkward about it. After my breasts were taken away from me, the tissue was incinerated. Before I was able to legally drive, I had a huge part of my future womanhood taken from me.
Wow.
I will never be able to breastfeed. I struggle to look at myself in the mirror at times.
Wow.
I still struggle to this day with sexual dysfunction. And I have massive scars across my chest. And the skin grafts that they took of my nipples are leaking
Jesus
fluid to me.
Christ.
And they were grafted into a more masculine positioning, they said. After surgery, my grades in school plummeted. Everything that I went through did nothing to address my underlying mental health issues that I had. And my doctors, with their theories on gender, thought that all my problems would go away as soon as I was surgically transformed into something that vaguely resembled a boy. Their theories were wrong. The drugs and surgeries changed my body, but they did not and could not change the basic reality that I am and forever will be a female. When my specialist first told my parents that they could have a dead daughter or a live transgender son, I wasn't suicidal.
Wow. Wow. You see the manipulation coming from the horse's mouth? What they gonna say? Oh, this is fake news. This is a human being telling you their experience through quote unquote transitioning. This is what Andrew Holness has introduced to the shores of Jamaica. This is where it is going to go with the signing of the Samoa Agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the devil's plan for Jamaica and the world. And there's going to be a few die-hearted persons out there saying, but you know, him can't do anything. That's false. There's other governments around the world that has refused to sign the Samoa Agreement based off reading it and understanding what the hell they're trying to do in the future to the children of their country, or the lack of their future by signing this thing. This is about population control. This is about the destruction of humankind. This is about destroying our children. What future do you have when the children are destroyed? God said to go in the earth and what? Multiply. How do you multiply after cutting off, right, your phallus, or taking out your entire reproductive system? How do you do that? By taking hormone blockers, right? On medication. Who wants to be on medication every day of their life? No wonder these people are depressed and some of them want to commit suicide. You're gonna hear a lot more. Trust me, it gets real deep.
Happy child who struggled because she was different.
Oh,
However,
and trigger warning. This is not for the faint-hearted. And the actual show that I was gonna show tonight is actually more devastating than this. And I said, man, I don't know if y'all is ready. I sent it in the group. I said, I don't know if y'all is ready, because I see people in my comment section, man, Bolo, you know, sometimes I'll be like, damn, I don't know, man. Your videos are too intense. It's just too much. It's just too much. And I'm like, yo, you think it's too much, man? I be holding back. I really be holding back. Trust me. Like and share the video. I really be holding back, man.
they transformed into something that vaguely resembled a boy. Their theories were wrong. The drugs and surgeries changed my body, but they did not and could not change the basic reality that I am and forever will be a female. When my specialist first told my parents that they could have a dead daughter or a live transgender son, I wasn't suicidal. I was a happy child who struggled because she was different. However, at 16, after my surgery, I did become suicidal. I'm doing better now.
Wow.
My parents almost got the dead daughter promised to them by my doctors. My doctors had almost created the very nightmare they said they were trying to avoid. So what message do I want to bring to American teenagers and their families? I didn't need to be lied to. I needed compassion. I needed to be loved.
Wow.
I needed to be given therapy to help me work through my issues,
Wow.
not affirm to my delusion that by transforming into a boy, it would solve all my problems.
That is what they sold them. That's exactly what they sold them. Transform into something that you're not, and it's going to make things better. And more of these individuals are coming out, and they are telling their experiences and telling the truth. No, I don't feel better. I actually feel worse. I don't feel like myself.
We need to stop telling 12-year-olds that they were born wrong, that they are right to reject their own bodies and feel uncomfortable in their own skin. We need to stop telling children that puberty is an option, that they can choose what kind of puberty they will go through, just so they can choose what clothes to wear or what music to listen to. Puberty is a rite of passage to adulthood,
Thank you.
not a disease to be mitigated.
Shout out to Uncle Bundy says good night. No, Ursel Bundy. Good night, good night.
Today, I should be at home with my family celebrating my 19th birthday, and instead I'm making a desperate plea to my elected representatives. Learn the lessons from other medical scandals like the opioid crisis. To recognize that doctors are human too, and sometimes they are wrong. My childhood was ruined along with thousands of detransitioners that I know through our networks. This needs to stop. You alone can stop it. Enough children have already been victimized by this barbaric pseudoscience. Please let me be your final warning.
Man, listen, I gotta play that back.
Wasn't suicidal. I was a happy child who struggled because she was different. However, at 16, after my surgery, I did become suicidal. I'm doing better now, but my parents almost got the dead daughter promised to them by my doctors. My doctors had almost created the very nightmare they said they were trying to avoid. So what message do I want to bring to American teenagers and their families? I didn't need to be lied to. I needed compassion. I needed to be loved. I needed to be given therapy to help me work through my issues, not affirm to my delusion that by transforming into a boy, it would solve all my problems. We need to stop telling 12-year-olds that they were born wrong, that they are right to reject their own bodies and feel uncomfortable with their own skin. We need to stop telling children that puberty is an option, that they can choose what kind of puberty they will go through, just so they can choose what clothes to wear or what music to listen to. Puberty is a rite of passage to adulthood, not a disease to be mitigated. Today, I should be at home with my family celebrating my 19th birthday, and instead I'm making a desperate plea to my elected representatives. Learn the lessons from other medical scandals like the opioid crisis.
Andrew Holness has not learned the lessons of America. Jamaica was in a unique position to say, listen, I can't sign this. Look at the results. It's not like, hey Stacey, and how you doing? It is, it truly is. Right? Look at the results. Why can I, a regular individual in Jamaica, a concerned citizen, just go on YouTube and do a little bit of research and find a plethora of evidence to discourage any country that has not signed this thing already to not sign it? How you doing, Joanne Sinclair? Salute to you, love. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. And it gets worse. It doesn't get better. I'm sorry. This is the harsh truth and the reality. This is what he has signed off on with the Samoa Agreement. Let's listen to the second individual that came to speak on this topic.
Good morning, Chairman Johnson and Ranking Member Scanlon and members of the subcommittee. I'm Paula Scanlon, a spokeswoman and advisor for the Independent Women's Forum and a former NCAA athlete. I am here today to share my personal story. I started swimming at a very young age, and by age 8, I was swimming competitively, and by late middle school, I was devoting at least 20 hours per week to swimming. I gave up countless Christmas holidays, weekends, and social events to work towards my goal of swimming Division I. A dream that came true when I began swimming for the University of Pennsylvania. While I am not an NCAA champion, I hold the New England Independent School League record in the 400-yard freestyle relay, a record that has stood since March of 2017. In September of 2021, Leah Thomas began participating as a member of the Penn women's team. Leah, formerly Will, had personal best times in every freestyle event that were...
So Leah, formerly Will, okay? Transition. So that was a born male. Listen to this.
faster than the women's world records.
So that male transitioning to that transition broke all the records. And this is the sports aspect of it now, right? Adasa, Hey, first time seeing you. No, I think there's some African countries that did sign it, not all of them. You're right. Some of the African countries that did not sign it. I see you in the comment section going crazy. I really appreciate all your comments in the comment section, Adassa. Thank you so much for your engagement. All right. But yeah, the born male broke every single record. Listen to this.
Once the season began, Thomas was leading the country in multiple events, while only placing in the top 500 in those events on the men's team. Thomas later became an NCAA champion in the 500-yard freestyle, the first NCAA champion in our women's team history program. While many of you already know this, what you do not know is the experiences of the women on the University of Pennsylvania swim team. My teammates and I were forced to undress in the presence of Leah, a 6'4" tall biological male, fully intact with male genitalia,
18 times per week. They were forced to undress in front of this natural born male transition that still has his genitalia intact. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what is coming to your children. Can you imagine you have your young teenager girl and you got this person telling you they have the right to be in the same bathroom as them with they ding-a-ling out, bro? I'm trying to tell you, this is a plan from the devil himself. And they are making this law through the Samoa Agreement. It affects the law. And by law, you can't say nothing. They gonna lock you up. This is where we're gonna come to a time where what is right and what is law is not coinciding with each other. And y'all gonna have to make a decision. All right? Are you gonna stand up or you gonna shut up? All right? Trust me, it's coming.
While many of you already know this, what you do not know is the experiences of the women on the University of Pennsylvania swim team. My teammates and I were forced to
like and share, guys.
Leah, a 6'4" tall biological male, fully intact with male genitalia, 18 times per week.
Sheesh.
Some girls opted to change in bathroom stalls, and others used the family bathroom to avoid this. When we tried to voice our concerns to the athletic department, we were told that Leah's swimming and being in our locker room was a non-negotiable, and we were offered psychological services to attempt to re-educate us to become comfortable with the idea of undressing in front of a male.
So, not only did they complain, rightfully so, but they let them know, you are the problem. We need to give you some psychiatric evaluation and assessment, right? We need to program you into thinking that this is right. I want y'all to pay attention because this is deep, bro. This is deep.
Others used the family bathroom to avoid this. When we tried to voice our concerns to the athletic department, we were told that Leah's swimming and being in our locker room was a non-negotiable, and we were offered psychological services to attempt to re-educate us to become comfortable with the idea of undressing in front of a male. To sum up the university's response, we, the women, were the problem, not the victims. We were expected to conform, to move over, and shut up. Our feelings didn't.
This is the system of that they're pushing all over the world. That is why in the pandemic, that was a test of how many of you would conform. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a test. There's more tests coming. This one is a test as well, a more long-term test. This is the second most diabolical plan of the devil. This right here that we're talking about right now, I'm telling you.
Didn't matter. The university was gaslighting and fear-mongering women to validate the feelings and identity of a male. As an attempt to voice my concern about the situation we were forced into, revealing the unjust and unfair treatment, I wrote an op-ed for the Daily Pennsylvanian, the student-run newspaper. I approached this from a scientific, statistical perspective where I used my engineering background to discuss how Y chromosomes cannot be changed by any surgical procedure or systemic therapy. This biological fact lends itself to athletic advantages that cannot be mitigated by lowering testosterone levels, which are readily apparent in sports competitions and locker rooms. The Daily Pennsylvanian published my article on the evening of February 10th, 2022. Only a few hours later, my piece was retracted. I was given no notice nor reasoning.
Wow.
Again, I was silenced for my dissenting viewpoint and felt my First Amendment rights were denied by my university.
They're going to silence y'all. They're going to do these horrible things to our kids, and they're going to silence the ones that speak out. Yo, man, trust me, bruh. Listen, I'm sorry I can't come up here and just give y'all great news. When the present reality of the world that we're living in is about to change drastically, we gotta pray, repent, prepare, and educate. This is the mantra. All right? He says they will continue to envelope. So how far it will go? Yes, they are going to push. They are the bully that keeps pushing, and if you don't push back, they probably going to defecate in your face and pee on you. They're going to do all types of manners of embarrassing and horrific things and humiliating things to you, and put it in law that it's right. And one of the things that they're coming with soon that is under the Samoa agreement, allegedly, I think I snapped, they're looking to get this by law in America, is the argument that the identifying as what you want, right, is the first thing. That's the caveat. Imagine an old person identifying as a child. So now an old person can have quote unquote love for their own because they're seen as what's the terminology? Is it mini people or small people? I don't remember the terminology that they used in the document that they're filing to Congress in America, right? But I'm telling you, these old pedos, they are looking to get their own law in place where they can literally legally touch kids. And we know how Jamaican people are. We have an issue with those things here in Jamaica. But when somebody finds out that you touch somebody's kid, oh, the cutlasses come out. All right? The weapons come out. That person cannot even stay in that community no more because somebody or a lot of people is going to come for them. You feel me? And imagine typo error. You mean envelope? Okay, it said they're gonna push the envelope. Right, you're right. Yeah, you was right. I think you wrote it the right way. Continue to push the envelope. Okay. Yeah, that's what they do, man.
This is representative of a greater issue, the destruction of free speech. Today,
Albert
any
Lewis,
discussion maintaining the sanctity of women's spaces is labeled transphobic, bigoted, and hateful.
So, for them to protect their own space so they can use their own bathrooms, you hear what they label them as? Transphobic and hateful. Man, listen, you can't make this up.
The Daily Pennsylvanian published my article on the evening of February 10th, 2022. Only a few hours later, my piece was retracted. I was given no notice nor reasoning. Again, I was silenced for my dissenting viewpoint and felt my First Amendment rights were denied by my university. This is representative of a greater issue, the destruction of free speech. Today, any discussion maintaining the sanctity of women's spaces is labeled transphobic, bigoted, and hateful.
Transphobic, bigoted, and hateful. Chrisani Frey, salute to you. First time seeing you in the chat. Guys, please share the live. I know I'm late, but share the live. They will catch the replay. And yes, Lord, please help us. I second that because, man, we see there is war going on many different fronts, ladies and gentlemen. Some of us don't actually understand that the war is happening. We're just here existing and going about our lives, and we don't really see what's going on, right? This is what Andrew Holness is bringing to the shores of Jamaica. They have already signed it, and it's a 20-year plan as far as I understand, allegedly. Man, what?
What's bigoted and hateful is the discrimination against women and the efforts to erase women and our equal opportunities, dignity, and safe spaces.
Wow.
One might ask, why do I speak so passionately about issues that seem hypothetical, or some may perceive as only impacting a small number of women? This is not hypothetical. This is real. I know women who have lost roster spots and spots on the podium. I know of women with sexual trauma who are adversely impacted by having biological males in their locker room without their consent. I know this because I am one of these women.
Wow.
I was sexually assaulted on June 3rd of 2016.
Jesus
I was
Christ.
only 16 years old. I was able to forgive my attacker, but violence against women still exists. Let us not forget the viral.
She was able to forgive her attacker. Man, listen. If I was your dad, young girl, oh, there's no forgiveness. Listen, hey, Father, I'm still working on myself. You're still working on, some things trigger me. Like, this triggers me. Okay? This is why, man, listen, man, what? Hey, I don't know about having no kids, man. Not at this time, man. I don't know about getting no kids right now, bro. This world got to be fixed. I'm talking about Jamaica. I'm living in Jamaica. Jamaica got to be fixed because we're going down the same road. Imagine I got a youth, right? That is 2 years old. And now the Samoa Agreement, by the time the Samoa Agreement go into effect, my kid would be in school learning about these things and that. Oh, hell no. I'm talking about hell to the no. No, sir. Not me. Not my child. Not these experiences. Nope.
That empowered female victims to speak up. It casts a spotlight on the widespread prevalence of sexual assault and abuse, including in scholarly and educational institutions. Individuals on this committee have previously stated violence against women is all too common. I am grateful for those members who have brought awareness to the violence against women in the past, but unfortunately, there's still much to be done.
No, listen. Hey, Star Girl, you already know. Listen, Filiardi vibes. This topic was not thoroughly explained to the people of Jamaica. They already, I think, is implementing hate speech laws and stuff like that. So they're taking their time to put it in there. First, when they talked about the Samoa Agreement, the people said, hell no. Then they just went behind their back and signed it anyway, bruh. You just saw it come out in the paper, and some people still don't know up until this day that the Samoa Agreement has been signed by the Jamaican government. They still don't know about this article right here, December 14, 2023. And whose face is that? Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kamina Johnson-Smith. Right? This was signed, I think, in Belgium. The article says. Right? I think it's right. Yeah. This government decision to sign the Samoa Agreement was taken in the interest of the country's development goals, and its partner arrangements with the OACPS and the EU. These two entities is the entities that the devil is using to poison countries and push them into signing this agreement. Yes, that's what it is. See, it's right there. Y'all go read it yourselves. Stop being lazy. Right? I got a lot of stuff to cover.
As a sexual assault survivor, many policies pushed today completely ignore my experiences and many women like me. I ask the members of this committee, please consider this issue outside the lens of political affiliations and understand the true impact of ignoring the realities of womanhood. Future generations depend on us. Thank you for the opportunity to...
That is, man, you ain't never lied, ma'am. Young lady. You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. Future generation depend on us. All right? Now, I want y'all to hear from this strong lady right here. Man, this right here, boy. Ooh.
I want to say thank you for being here. You are four incredibly brave women, and you're my heroes. You have been willing to put yourselves out there to address something that many people want you to stop talking. They want to prevent you from talking. Don't listen to them. Make sure that you continue to use your voice to educate us, to educate the American people, because these children are worth saving. Dr. Bowens, I want to thank you for being here. And in your testimony, you referenced what I think is one of the more important points in this debate, and that children are treated as special and a vulnerable class in the psychological and research fields. You referenced the experience of Tuskegee, and to me, the important takeaway here is that controversial so-called healthcare practices, treatments, and experience have not always withstood the test of time. Outside of your reference, I think of how lobotomy was once a form of care we wouldn't even consider today, and in fact has been banned in countries throughout the world. In this debate, I have wanted to replace the misleading terminology gender-affirming care, especially as it relates to children, because one, it replaces the biological reality of sex And 2, because it falsely suggests that using the term affirming that there is anything good going on here.
Bingo. Gender affirming care. This is all in the Samoa Agreement. My Jamaican people, please pay attention. Please pay attention. America has already made the mistake. Let not us. We need to take it to the streets. I'm talking about man, listen. We should be going out there right now with our phones going live, everybody at the same time, screaming to the Jamaican government and Andrew Holness. Andrew Holness must go. He must go now, and they must retract the Samoa Agreement immediately. Immediately. I don't care what a man or a woman want to do with themselves at an older age. You can cut off your hand if you want to. That is your business. But when it comes on to our kids, that's where the buck stops. There's no negotiation, bro. That is my argument. Right? You can have a whole train run through you. All right? In your sexual practices. I don't care. But affirming this gender affirming business, hey, leave our kids alone. You evil, wicked SOBs.
There are only 2 sexes, boys or girls, or boys are boys and girls are girls,
Facts.
and one cannot become the other.
Facts.
In fact, and especially when it comes to children, it seems to me that gender-affirming care is better described as sexual lobotomy.
Facts.
It is treatment that is fundamentally and permanently alters the sexuality and medical and psychological well-being of these patients. It causes irreversible sterilization
Facts.
and serious long-term medical complications
Facts.
and long-term reliance on pharmaceuticals.
Facts.
These treatments and surgeries are controversial medical practices that seek to change a person in a manner which is not actually achievable, and they will not withstand the test of
Facts.
time. Dr. Bowens, are there medical professionals in the U.S. and abroad already rejecting these surgeries as any form of serious medical care?
Yes, thank you for your question. And we are seeing an increase of medical professionals speaking out. Just this past week, there were 21 doctors that came out and said, we are very concerned about this. The own AAP, American Academy of Pediatrics, was referenced earlier, and 80% of their membership has been asking for a review of the literature, and they've been denied that review by the upper.
Wow.
So there are, and I listed many other countries, there are people who are standing up because they're seeing the harms done to these kids, like Chloe.
Can you discuss why referring to these treatments as life-saving treatment is so extremely misleading?
Yeah, it's misleading for a number of reasons. Because for one, the whole impetus of the scientific method is that we're discovering things. We're supposed to be in a process of, is this the right approach or not? And this whole discussion about saying that it's life-saving automatically says there's no room for discussion. There's no room for scientific.
Yes.
Because
They've already come to a conclusion, and they're pushing that conclusion on you. What the child needs is to cut off their penis. Huh? Because they having emotional issues. That's normal through puberty. What the hell? Man, if you can remember the first time you had that tingle, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, what the hell is that? What's going on here? You ain't tell nobody I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Shoot. I'm like, wait a minute, huh? Let's keep it a buck. We adults here. It's not for kids, right? And the women, they can speak on their experiences, which I don't know because I'm not a woman, right? And I will never know, period, right? But this is the reality they are trying to tell these kids. This is the problem with you. This is what you need to do. And it's the most extreme recommendations around gender dysphoria and gender affirming care. This is wickedness. And this is what Andrew Holness has brought to the shores of Jamaica. I'm going to keep saying that so you guys remember who signed the Samoa Agreement. Period. And I said this before. I would love to know what Mark Golden's stance is on this particular signing and document. Any political party that's coming into power right now, any opposing party, I want to know where is your stance on this particular topic. This is the most important topic. All right? Yes, the government, they are alleged crooks, thieves, and all of that. We need to get back our money. But I'm talking about the future of the Jamaican people, or the lack thereof, because of this signing of this Samoa Agreement. That's to me, this is the most important topic. And shout out to Talking Mind TV, because he was beating the drum a long time ago. Right? All the implications of the devil system is coming in. The NIDS. A digital system. Totally digital. No money. Right? We better start farming, baby. We better start homeschooling our kids. Right? We better start praising the Lord and going to church. Reading our Bible. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the old school days. Right? Because this don't make no sense, bruh. I'm talking about, man.
We're supposed to be in a process of, is this the right approach or not? And this whole discussion about saying that it's life-saving automatically says there's no room for discussion, there's no room for scientific inquiry because the science is settled, which is, it's an amazing statement because the suicide literature has been around far longer than the transgender literature, and the suicide literature is not conclusive. So we have a real, right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing in this case.
Wow.
It seems to me what we've been living through for the last couple of years is a government that wants to suppress any type of speech that it disagrees with. And we're seeing that with the industrial censorship complex that we've been talking about. And it appears that that's exactly what's going on here. They want to stop the debate because they know that they can't win it.
Yes, that's the same thing they did in the damn pandemic. They used the social media platforms allegedly. And you see, Facebook came out and said they got pressured. So it's not even allegedly anymore. Right? They are using that same method, that same machine to push this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, we got 45 of y'all in here. If you share this live with 10 people, that's going to be 450. If they share it with 10 more people, that's going to be 4,500. And if they share it with 10 people, that's going to be 450,000 people. Yo, everybody needs... I'm talking about my Jamaican people especially. Everybody needs to hear this and understand this if they don't already. My argument that I'm making right now is important. The message is too important, ladies and gentlemen. Share the live. Hit the like button. Let's go.
Dr. Bowens, my last question is what is the success rate of sex change operations?
Well, we have, it's hard to find longer term data with children, but what the data that we do have, which is probably the most reliable data point available, is from a Swedish study, and it looked at over 10 years, which is really important because regret doesn't just happen a year after some sort of transition. And what you see is a suicide rate that's associated with 19 times higher than the general population.
Ooh, hey, yo, I want y'all to hear that again. This is data, facts, and your wholeness. Why did you not observe these facts before you signed the Samoa agreement? I want somebody to really come in my comment section and tell me no foolishness, bro. I want y'all to really come, man. I'ma block you, boy. If y'all ever come in my comments and you see the evidence I'm showing, the facts and the evidence I'm showing, listen to the professionals.
Looked at over 10 years, which is really important because regret doesn't just happen a year after some sort of transition. And what you see is a suicide rate that's associated with 19 times higher than the general population.
19 times higher than the general population. That means if the general population at a rate to want to unalive themselves, right? And that rate was like, say what, 10%? 19 times higher than 10% is what? If it's one in every five person, or one in every, say for instance, it's 1 in every 100 person that wanted to unalive themselves. 19 times 1 in 100 is what? That means 18 more persons, after going through this process of a transition in Sweden, they wanted to take themselves out of here. Let that sink in for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if my chat has frozen, but I don't see nobody typing. Oh, that's my bad. Shoot, y'all was typing the whole time. My phone froze up. Damn, I missed all these messages. Sadie Hunt said him sell out the country. Christian said he need to go to prison. He must go now. Baby is a baby. Lord God, what in the world is going on? Adasa said children is a blessing. Blessed are those with or without in these times. Man, I'm fighting for every child, even if I don't have one. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm fighting for the babies. These people sound crazy. What kind of corruption is this? So true. God will take care of our children. Natalie Waldron said, when it comes to our children, not kids, we go the extra mile to protect them. Facts. We must repent. He said the chip, all hell is gonna break loose. Natalie said, yep, may come upon a difficult time for a while, but God in whom we serve will defend our babies. The blood of Jesus. Yes, amen to that. God is able. He can do what no man can do. Yes, that's why they bringing it to WhatsApp. Yes, thank you, Adasa. So the program that they had in the field of the Ministry of Health, you see, they took back that program. That's the program Adasa is talking about. Yes, they actually introduced it, and the parents caught wind of it, and they suspended the program. They didn't eliminate the program; they just suspended it and brought it back. He said, "When God had hardened Pharaoh's heart, is because he was about to unalive the Pharaoh. Pray, pray, pray. Fear not. Vengeance is his; he will repay." Hey, listen, you already know. Let's continue.
Well, actually, there is a 0% there's a 100% failure rate for sex change operations, isn't there? Because it's not possible to change your sex.
That's right.
100% failure rate for these procedures.
So you have doctors that is recommending that these kids, right, at these teenage years and under, having, you know what I'm saying, they just need some counseling, right? They're telling them to go do these things to their bodies. Right? They telling them to go do these things to their bodies, and there's a 0% success rate to achieve what they're telling them that they need to do, which is be something that they're not. You cannot change your DNA chromosome makeup how God made you. It is not possible. I'm telling you, this is the work of the devil, and Andrew Holness is now the agent of the devil for signing in some more agreement. This is my argument. This is my belief. And I stand on that. I stand on that, man.
That's right. You can't change your sex.
Thank you, and I yield back.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I'm a detransitioner. Another way to put that would be...
Wait a minute. Oh, I saw that already. I saw that already. Yeah, we went through that already. I just wanted to hear from that part and the doctor. So I saw that already. Let's go to the next clip. Go to the next clip. Right? This really broke my heart. This one right here, this really broke my heart, y'all. Man, listen, trigger warning, man. Trigger warning. All right? This is not for the faint-hearted. This story I'm talking about, whoo, Jesus Christ. Man, listen.
Oh yeah, I know him well. When I was 9 years old, I was raped by one of my father's employees, which caused a lot of confusion in my mind. When I was 9 years old, I was raped by one of my father's employees, which caused a lot of confusion in my mind. I would ask myself, why do...
He was raped by one of his father's employees at 9 years old. All right? 9.
When I was 9 years old, I was raped by one of my father's employees, which caused a lot of confusion in my mind. I would ask myself, why do men want to have sex with me? And when he told me he would kill me if I said anything, fear set in my mind. And so I really believed I couldn't tell anybody. And this went on for a period of 2 years. And then shortly after that, my parents had gone through a divorce.
Grace, big up. Yeah, man.
And then I eventually would move to Portland, Maine, I think the age of 17. But as a couple of years went by, I was in Daring Oaks Park, and I had met some men there, and they invited me to do some drinking with them. And I did, and they invited me back to their apartment, and I was raped by all 4 of them.
Wow.
One after the other. And I had met a couple of transsexuals in this game.
Wow. 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 Wow.
But as a couple of years went by, I was in Daring Oaks Park, and I had met some men there, and they invited me to do some drinking with them. And I did, and they invited me back to their apartment, and I was raped by all 4 of them, repeatedly, one after the other. And I had met a couple of transsexuals in this gay bar, and they would just say things like, "You're so pretty, you know, you're too pretty to be a boy, You should start female hormones.
Wow.
And of course, I would chew on those things that they spoke to me. And when I was real young, even under 9 years old, I forgot to mention that my mother used to speak over me. She'd always say, Jeffrey, you should have been born a girl instead of a boy.
Jeez. Oh my God. You see, this is one of the other issues. Any parent I'm talking about, if you even have the idea in your mind, when you have a child that God gave you, whether male or female, don't you ever put it in their mind that you wish you had a girl or boy. What you are doing to that child psychologically, trust me, you're going to pay for that. I mean, God really going to punish you for that. I believe God going to punish y'all for that, man. If y'all have ever done that, y'all better stop doing that shit, man. Be grateful for what God has given to you. Always. It is, if it's you're supposed to have a 10 boys, you're going to have 10 boys. If you're supposed to have 10 girls, you're going to have 10 girls. Right? God knows what is best for all of us. Stop doing that to these kids, man. Listen to what the man's saying, man. Oh my goodness.
And when somebody says that to you, you know, you should have been born a girl and not a boy. I mean, you just live with rejection, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So when I'd be off playing, I always hear a voice saying, well, even your mother thinks you should have been born a girl.
Oh, man.
And the turmoil and torment in my mind got so bad that I just accepted it. I was so sick and tired of the turmoil in my mind, of hearing those voices, those lies in my mind. You're a girl. You should have been born a girl. I was so sick of it that I actually just came into agreement with it. I said, you're right, I am. So I got into booze, and I was introduced to prostitution and some drugs.
Jesus
cocaine,
Christ.
and started female hormones at the same time, all around the age of 18 and 19 years old. And it got so bad that I actually had a nervous breakdown in a nightclub one night and just started smashing my fist on a car. And then shortly after this, I'm trying to not cry. So I would eventually move to Boston. I'm now living as transgender 24 hours a day. I think I'm about 20 years old. I needed a job. I met another transgender in a nightclub in Boston. And the individual said to me, well, I work at a strip joint down in the combat zone. I can get you a job. Well, anyways, I got that job, and I did that job for almost 20 years. A girl who lived across the hall from me, her and I was drinking and doing drugs. And she had lied to me and said something, and it just ended up in a fight. I had a cell phone at the time, and I was going to leave the apartment building. I was just lying to her. I said, I'm going to leave the apartment building and speak to the police. So I got to the head of the stairs. She come running full force and just pushed me head first, and my face smashed the handrail as I went down the stairs. But as I lay at the foot of the stairs, something just miraculously came over me, and I heard a voice say to me, wow, God had to have been with you.
Wow.
And I really chewed on what I had just heard. You know, I really pondered what I had just heard. And
Wow.
I said, right. God had to have been with me.
Wow.
Later on the day, I had to go to the emergency room. I was in the emergency room, checked myself in. I was sitting in the waiting room, but I was so severely banged up, my face was swollen. And I said to myself, I'm in so much pain, there's no way when the doctor calls my name, I'm going to be able to go walk with him out of this waiting room. So I looked outside the waiting room, and there was a wheelchair. I said, I have to get in it. So I just simply got up out of the chair, sat just like 3 feet out of the waiting room, and got into the wheelchair. But when I turned around and looked back in the waiting room where I was sitting, all of a sudden appeared before my face a little old woman and a little old man. So as I'm sitting in the wheelchair, I'm thinking to myself, and I glanced down at my body, and I said, look at me. I said, where did I get to this point in my life? I said, I hate my life. My life is nothing but doing drugs, prostitution. I don't like myself. How did I get to this point?
Wow.
How did I end up with breast implants? I looked down at myself, I said, how did I end up with all this stuff? Why do I have all this confusion in my mind? And I was just wanting someone to love me. And when I looked in that waiting room and I saw this little old woman and little old man, when I looked at him, it was just like something, I just knew that they had such love and concern for me. I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it.
Wow.
And that little old woman came over and put her hand on my shoulder, and she said, honey, do you know Jesus?
Oh my God, man.
And at that point in time in my life, I lied to her. Wow. I said, oh yeah, I know him well.
Wow.
I had no clue who he was. So I saw the doctor. The doctor released me from the hospital, and I lived alone at the time. But when I got to my apartment,
Man, I'm glad I'm not on camera, man. This is moving, man. Wow, man. Wow.
everywhere in my apartment, I kept hearing a voice. I'd go to my bathroom, and all of a sudden I'd hear this voice saying, "Do you know Jesus?" I'd run to the kitchen to get away from this voice, and then I'd hear a voice in the kitchen say, "Do you know Jesus?" I'd run to the bedroom, thinking I'm getting away from this voice. "Do you know Jesus?" And do you know this went on for a period of a week? I was that stubborn.
Wow.
I didn't even answer this voice. And then after a week later, I was so aggravated, I didn't want to hear this voice anymore. Because I didn't know who it was. You see, every day I was used to just getting up. I had to be at a methadone clinic by 7:30 in the morning to drink my methadone. Then I'd come home and doll myself up, only to walk the streets to turn a Turk.
Wow.
I wanted to get away from this voice because I couldn't do my daily routine because of this voice that I kept hearing. And then finally one day I just yelled at this voice and I didn't know it was God. I said, "Well, you're aggravating me." I said, "I can't do anything because you keep asking me this question, do I know Jesus?" So I said to this voice that I was hearing, I said, "This is what I'll do. I'll turn the Christian TV on and I'll learn about this Jesus." As soon as I did that, he stopped asking me that question.
Oh my God.
One day I was sitting in my bed. All of a sudden, the hand of God just came upon my right shoulder, and he pulled my whole life in front of my face. There were 41 pictures. It was like the film out of a camera. And then he said, "This isn't you. This is what the devil has done to you."
Oh, talk about it. Talk about it. This is what Andrew Holness is trying to do to the people of Jamaica, bro. This is what he has signed off on. I want y'all to pay attention. Listen to this man's testimony, man. Powerful.
As soon as I did that, he stopped asking me that question. One day I was sitting in my bed. All of a sudden, the hand of God just came upon my right shoulder, and he pulled my whole life in front of my face. There were 41 pictures. It was like the film out of a camera. And then he said, "This isn't you. This is what the devil has done to you." He showed me getting a nose job done, getting rid of my beard, having my Adam's apple shaved. And when he said that to me, because I went through my life talking to God, there were times I'd talk to God before I even knew God. But I used to cry and say, why do I feel like a girl trapped in a man's body? It was a lifelong torture for 41 years.
Jesus Christ.
And one day I was really angry because I wanted to feel different within. I didn't want the desires to do drugs. I didn't want the homosexual lifestyle. I didn't want the transgender.
Matter of fact, don't move that hand no more. Now try. Don't Mike, you mean to tell me Diddy was touching on your leg while you were sitting right here on this couch? But I said it before you get the hell out of the studio.
Clarissa Banley, subscribe to the channel.
Shout out to the new subs. I need to mute that notification though. Hopefully I don't get a lot of them.
And one day I was really angry because I wanted to feel different within. I didn't want the desires to do drugs. I didn't want the homosexual lifestyle. I didn't want the transgender identity confusion in my mind. I was really angry because I heard on TV that this Jesus changes you from within and does this and does that. Well, my heart was crying out, I want that. So I angrily said to God one day, why don't I feel any different? I want to feel different. And he was so sweet, as he is. He didn't say a word. But the next day I was making my bed, and when I tucked in the sheet and I stood up, he said, "Behold, all old things have passed away. You're a new creation in me." And when he said that, I just knew all the old drugs, the lifestyle, the addictions, everything was gone instantly.
Come on, man.
And so it's been 14 years now that I've been delivered from that lifestyle. And the Lord just instilled in my heart a supernatural hunger to read the Word of God.
Come on, man.
I hear God speak to me. And I was
Amen.
like, wow, this is so cool. It was just so amazing how He'd reveal things to me, especially show me how much He loves me. I couldn't fathom that. I remember there was a day I just said, "You mean to tell me you, the God who created billions and billions of people," I couldn't believe that He would take time out of His day to talk to somebody who thought that they were so dirty.
Wow.
And just so bad.
Wow,
From
man.
the prostitution and all that stuff that I had done all those years.
Wow.
Because I thought I was too naughty. I was too bad. I thought He wanted nothing to do with me. And then, excuse me.
Wow.
That couldn't have been any more other than the truth. He died on the cross for me. The
Oh my
aftermath,
God, man.
the regret, After you know the truth through Jesus Christ, that's the hard part. As far as my spirit is as perfect, as pure as He is. It's this aftermath to try to live with and deal with it. It's difficult. I don't wish it upon anybody. If I could go back as a little boy and have things different, some things I would have different. Being raped, being a prostitute, I'm kind of grateful it happened to Jeffrey. It's given me compassion to people that are prostituting, who are going through gender identity confusion.
Oh my
I
God,
can cry
man.
with those people.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Those little boys and little girls that are being fondled by people.
Talk about it.
Doctor, I can do that.
Talk about it.
And truly have compassion in my heart. And if I could say to anybody,
Wow,
please
man.
get to know God. You know He loves you.
Woo.
He knew you before you were in your mother's womb.
Woo.
I'll never forget when I was reading the Bible and it said He knew me before I was in my mother's womb.
Wow, man.
God said, I formed your inward parts. And one day He said to me, He said, Jeffrey, I'm so pleased with you.
Jesus
It would
Christ.
just melt
Look
my
at
heart
that.
to know how much He loves me and everybody else. And the sad thing is a lot of people don't know how much He loves them. There's so many doctrines in this world that says, do what you want, do what feels good. It's so sad. And these little children,
Wow.
all I can say is that's why it's important for parents to really know the truth of God's word.
Oh,
Because it's the truth
oh
of God's
my.
word that'll comfort you and set you free.
Listen, man. Listen. Wow. Wow. I need a moment, man. I need a moment, man. Wow, man. How powerful is that? Yo, somebody talk to me, man. How powerful is that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at what that man went through. From the age of maybe 5, your mother telling you that you are, you know, man. Whoo! Oh my days. Oh my days. Oh my days. I'm glad I'm not on camera, man. I really am, man. Cause man, I cannot hold back these tears, bro. Real talk. I'm keeping it a stack. This is just too powerful, man. What this man has gone through, and to see where he, God brought him to. All praises to the Most High, man. Wow. Wow.
Incredibly sad story. Today I want to talk about an incredibly sad story. The story of Jazz Jennings, a boy that was pretty much forced to transition by his parents. The whole thing was documented on the internet and on a reality show on TLC. The story is not new. It all happened a few years ago, and I believe at that time this was the youngest transgender kid to undergo hormone replacement therapy. But why is this story relevant again, you may ask? Well, there is a new clip that appeared, where you can clearly see the other side of the story. But first of all, let's watch a short clip that sums up the whole situation pretty well. This is why I think that this was not a decision made by the kid. It was forced by his parents, who probably didn't want a son. So they decided to turn him into their daughter. Imagine how sad this is.
Yo, I'm trying to tell you, Andy West, this is what Andrew Holness has signed off on, man. All these experiences that these people are having, instead of you have a system, right, that actually helps these people, whether they get abused when they was young, whether they're a little bit confused about going through their puberty, whatever the case might be, right? Whether they saw something on a clip or a movie and they got them confused, whether it's the parents wanting a boy and not a girl, or a girl and not a boy, whatever it is, the children need help. They don't need to be pushed into a life of taking medication every day for the rest of their life to transform into something that they can never be. Right? Come on, man.
This kid could have been a happy and healthy man, but his parents pushed him to make a life-altering decision when he was only a few years old.
What was the first time that you had any inkling that this little boy, Jazz, was different?
The day she came up to me, and I'll never forget it, Barbara, she said, "Mommy, when's the good fairy gonna come with her magic wand and change, my genitalia?"
How?
That is a lie from the pits of hell.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
Yeah, Andy West, I know the books are in school. I just want our Jamaican people that I think they really don't know what's going on, Andy. I really believe that Jamaican people are so busy doing what they're doing, they don't really understand the full scope of what it means that Andrew Holness and his government has signed the Samoa Agreement. I really think they don't know what's going on. I'm telling you. Facts. Right? Again, I don't care what you do with your life. As an adult, you can do whatever you want to do. But as a system and a government, for you to have these attacks on our children and our future, no, sir. We need, man, all the parents in the world need to stand up. They are trying to erase your lineage. Let's take it there. Right? Your children won't have a choice to continue your lineage or not. If they get their way, everybody is going to be cutting off they phalluses. All the women is going to be having, I don't know what women have, but so they can have no kids no more. Yeah, that's what they pushing. They pushing that up is down and down is up, right is left and left is right. Everything to go against God's order, bro. Everything. This is the work of the devil.
How old was Jazz then?
2.
At 2, Jazz came to you and said, "When is a good fairy going to, I guess, take off my penis?"
Right.
This lady is lying like a man. Can somebody, Lord, I already know. If you haven't taken care of this lady, she's bound to get taken care of. I don't even know if she's still alive. Is she a lady or is she a witch from hell? I don't know. This can't be a human being, man. This gotta be an alien, man. This gotta be a shapeshifter. Ain't no way, bruh. Look at this straight face, stiff-necked, wicked said, oh, let me calm down. Oh my God, boy.
And make it into a vagina.
Do we have any more questions? This should be a pretty clear case of abuse. What a failure of a parent. This is insane. First of all, I refuse to believe that this actually happened. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
I refuse as well.
Imagine this.
I refuse as well. I reject that she's lying out of face. She's lying out of her face. Now these ads right here are disturbing.
Just learn to walk. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Imagine this.
How you doing,
have
Andrea?
a 2-year-old son that just learned to walk and
2-year-old
to speak. He comes up to you and tells you exactly what she just said.
Yeah.
Now, as a good parent, what do? You explain to your son that he is a boy
Exactly.
and that there won't be a magic fairy that comes and changes his genitals.
And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Is it Tom Wilkes? Let me Google that. Tom Wilkes, Minnesota. I learned this the other day. Is it Tom Wilkes? He's an advocate for Kamala Harris. Is it Tom Wilkes? Images. No, that's not it. Is it Tim? Nah. I should put it in Minnesota. What's that guy's name? Y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all? Damn, I forgot his name. Minnesota. Thomas Wilkes. I think it's Thomas Wilkes. Is it Thomas Wilkes? Let me show you what I'm talking about. I did a video about it. I'm gonna find it real quick. Oh Lord, what did I do? I went on KB's. How did I do that? Oh, here we go. Right here. Let me see if I find it real quick. I think I did a live stream about it. And I covered the same thing too. Kamala Harris. Yep. I did a live about it. I'm trying to find where exactly. Yeah, it's not that far. It's got to be on the live stream, and I need to find his name. Yeah, I need to find his name. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Biggest word. I mean an ideal sense. I mean in every day.
Here it is.
With a boy or girl. A child brain, a kid's brain develops at 25. But under 25, under the age where they can for the job, that is the person that's facts. There's no argument in it. Let me make sure I have it.
Stance. Do you know what Tim Walz has? Because of. But she says the reason she's voting for Kamala Harris is because of Tim Walz's.
Tim Walz. Yes. In Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen. Tim Walz. And let me find the Twitter. Man, let me find the Twitter real quick. Because, boy, I'm trying to tell you. That video is supposed to have the link in it, too. Yeah, let me go to the link. I'm glad I be doing that, too. Here we go. Bam! Let's listen to this audio in its entirety real quick. Trust me. You gonna get it when you stick around.
That's how I would like to begin. Screw you, Taylor Swift. That's how I would like to begin. But she says the reason she's voting for Kamala Harris is because of Tim Walz's LGBTQ stance. Do you know what Tim Walz has done on the LGBTQ front? Well, here's what's going to happen. A little girl is going to find herself down a rabbit hole on Reddit. Reddit's going to tell her she's actually a boy. And she's going to get sucked into this gender cult. And she's going to say, Mom and Dad, I want puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, which will sterilize her. And they're going to say, no, you're a girl. And she's going to say, but I want top surgery, this benign thing, this double mastectomy where I'll have tubes coming out of me and I'll never breastfeed a child. I want that too. And they're going to say no. And she's going to go to a judge in Minnesota, and because of Tim Walz, the court will take custody of her, use the Medicaid funds in Minnesota to provide her all of those things, chop off her breasts, sterilize her with the puberty blockers and the cross-sex hormones. And when this girl inevitably comes to the conclusion that she didn't want any of this, that it only added to her problems, which were the divorce and the acne and the puberty and not any trans issue, who is she going to go to then? This is all because of Tim Walz. That's what Minnesota is doing right now to little girls and boys, taking custody away from the parents so that they can have these procedures without any loving parent there to help. And that's what Taylor Swift just endorsed for your children. So screw you, Taylor Swift. Thank you for saying that.
So this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. They will not stop. First, they're going to implement their law, and then when they see the parents say no, they're going to implement that law. They're going to follow all suit. Man, I'm telling you, they, like the person said in the chat, they are going to push the envelope until they can't push no more. This is who we're dealing with. We're dealing with the people that are agents of the devil, and they are all around the world in positions of power. Andrew Holness is no different. Look how he's moving like nothing is going on and nothing is wrong. Like he ain't declared his assets. He in India walking around like he is this honorable person. Like nothing is wrong. Like everything is kosher. Right? They think that we forgot. I'm just showing y'all a different angle of this. A lot of people is covering the integrity report. I think we can say, we can safely say that, man, yo, it is what it is. That man can't be innocent, right? A deep dive more into it is only going to expose him even more. It's not going to help him. It's not going to make an argument for him that he's innocent. But this right here, this attack that he has launched on our children, right? Tim Walz in Minnesota, that's an extreme state, but all the states are going to become that eventually if a certain person goes into power. Y'all got to pay attention. We got to save our children. We got to save our future. This lady's trying to tell us that a 2-year-old pull up to her. Her daughter, 2-year-old, pull up to her. Her son pull up to her and say, you know what? I feel like a girl. I want to chop my peenie off. What? Man.
You explain to your son that he is a boy and that there won't be a magic fairy that comes and changes his genitals. Or do you tell your toddler that you will find him the best plastic surgeon to chop his wiener off? This is a child. If he really said that, which I highly doubt, you don't just go along with it.
I've met a few trans girls who, after they have had the sex reassignment surgery, they just went crazy.
Really?
Yes.
And the same thing happened to Jazz. This next clip is the one currently going viral, where you can see Jazz telling mom how hard this is. And I would not put the blame on Jazz. Imagine being forced to change your whole life at an age where you don't even know what life really is. And for what? The fame and money. But let's play the clip.
Is that woman even her mother? His mother?
Don't even know what life really is. And for what?
I'm questioning if she is even his mother. How is dad look? I mean, you know, the eyes are kind of, I don't know. Man, this lady look like a witch, bro. Low key, I ain't lying, bro.
Fame and money. But let's play the clip.
Are you feeling like you wanted to start talking about? Are you okay? I'm okay. You're gonna cry. But you know I can't get out of my head. I know. No, listen. It just doesn't stop. It's okay. Give me a hug. It's okay. I know what you're going through. We've been there before. No, it still doesn't stop now, and I'm already going back to negative. But the more you're talking about yourself, it gets harder. You're digging in, and it's making you put a magnifying glass on what's already difficult as it is. So this is hard for you. I know, and we don't want to push you anymore. I know I'm the one doing it. Like I know you're your own worst enemy.
Yo, she said he's his own worst enemy. How you doing, Blue? Man, oh man, boy.
I feel kind of all over the place, and like my mind is very cluttered and not clear. And I really want to have that clarity. I really want to understand myself and be able to read my own soul and what I want. And it's just very challenging. And I think I'm kind of breaking down a little bit and spiraling into negativity.
That's crazy. Look what these pills.
I just want to feel like myself. Like, that's it. I don't
Like
care.
old Jazz?
All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like me ever.
This is genuinely so sad. Listen to the words. I just want to feel like myself.
Exactly.
And his mom is the one that has been brainwashing her son into believing that he is a girl. It's all documented. If you research this topic and look past all the articles of how beautiful and brave Jazz is, you will find that it's an incredibly sad story. And how she tries to put the blame on him seems crazy to me. A boy that has been mutilated beyond recognition because his parents are ignorant, selfish assholes. Let's play this last bit
go
again.
back,
Mutilated beyond recognition because his parents are ignorant, selfish.
All right, look at this man. And look at this woman. Okay, I can see how. Yeah, he got a broad ass forehead. She got the nose. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's okay. And then this. Okay, all right. I take that back. Yeah, it's probably his mom for real. Yeah.
Assholes. Let's play this last bit again.
I don't care. All I want is to be happy and feel like me, and I don't feel like me ever.
Of course, you don't feel like yourself. Your parents injected you with hormones that were not meant to go into your body. You also had your genitalia removed. And from what I've read on the internet, you had complications from your gender reassignment surgery, or what I would call mutilation. And you've had to get multiple surgeries just to fix what
they took his dealie off. Yo, there is a special place in hell for these two parents. I ain't gonna say no more other way. There is a special place in hell, in the pits of hell. And listen, I'm gonna work on myself because I don't want to be nowhere, anywhere where these types of people are. Hell no. I'm with the pastor. My only purpose right now is to make it into the great walls and gates of heaven. Yeah, man, this is crazy, bruh. This is crazy, bruh.
They messed up during your first. Jazz, let's be honest, you are not yourself. You are a version of yourself that your mom created in her head. You were a small kid that trusted his parents and got severely harmed in the process. We're being told that gender reassignment surgery is effective and helps these individuals feel like their true selves. While situations like these are swept under the rug, the whole woke left just doesn't want to talk about these people who have been harmed by their crazy ideologies. Do you think the doctors or surgeons performing these surgeries don't know that there are complications? Do you think they have their patients' best interests in mind?
Hell no.
I've been in this place before. I shouldn't be making these mistakes again.
Jess has gained a lot of weight since the show first aired. I decided to look a bit further into this to find out what is causing binge eating. And every article I've read showed that psychological issues are often a leading factor. Well, who would have thought? For those interested, here is the link to the whole article. Stressful life events, such as abuse, death.
Wait a minute, is the link in the here? Did they just, oh man, where's the link? All right, let's go back. Let me screenshot that link because I'd have to type it in myself, right?
Interested? Here is the link.
So let's screenshot this link, ladies and gentlemen. Screenshot. Boop. Boop. I'm gonna look this up. Boop. All right, let's do it like this. And like this. All right, let's do it. HTTPS. Oh Lord. HTTPS. Bam. Dash www. Dot healthline.com/nutrition slash. I hope y'all really appreciate what I do in real time. You feel me? So y'all can go look up the information yourselves too and go read. You showing the facts and the evidence over here, you heard? Yes, yes. Y'all hit that like button now and share the live. All right, you probably missed 10 people that you didn't share it with. All right, boom. I think that's it. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's press enter. And that is the actual thing. Okay, so I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna save this, and let's look at this for a little bit. All right, let's go. What is binge eating disorder, and what are the symptoms? Woo! Causes of binge eating disorder: genetics, oh Lord, changes in the brain, body size, body image, emotional trauma. Oh shoot! I think we got him. I think we got him, y'all. I think we got him. That's it right there. Yep, that's it right there. That is what is causing her or him allegedly to eat. That is it. Emotional trauma. The trauma of this dealing with that thing. So these man, this dude gotta be the devil. I'm talking about you gotta be a child of the devil. This dude right here, oh yeah, definitely a child of the devil.
Link to the whole article. Stressful life events, such as abuse, death, separation from a family member, or a car accident are risk factors. Childhood bullying due to weight may also contribute. Well, we know that Jazz was not overweight in his childhood, so that can't be the cause.
Exactly.
To me, it sounds like the most likely cause of the ones listed is abuse. But let's check out the rest of this article. Almost 80% of people with BD have at least one other psychological disorder, such as phobias, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar disorder, anxiety, or substance abuse. And if you watch the show, you will see that Jez mentions depression pretty often. His parents cared more about clout and money than getting him help in form of therapy. Instead of transitioning Jazz, they should have looked at the causes of his gender dysphoria, if he actually had it.
How much money are they paying them to be the poster child for this thing, man? How much money are they paying them? Oh my God. And you have these people that they are in the crowd supporting this, and they think they're supporting it for the right reasons. Oh, we don't want to discriminate. Oh, nobody should be discriminated against. That's not what it's about.
Because I want to remind you that the parents made a decision based off of something 2-year-old Jazz said. That's what they should have done. Find this kid a therapist that can find out what the underlying issues that cause his gender dysphoria are. To me, it looks like all his parents saw was fame and money. And now we have a whole generation of other crazy parents who push this BS on their kids.
Dang.
Have a look at this.
You talk to any adult trans people, they will tell you that since the day they were born. You ask anyone who's gay will say, I've always been gay. Will say like, oh, you're forcing it on her, or she's too young to know what's going on. I'm like, but that's your lack of.
That's another lie from the pits of hell, man. Boy, woo, woo.
You know, kind of exposure to that environment. You don't have a trans child. You are not a trans person. So you're just kind of like bandwagoning on what people are saying.
I'm also not a vet, and I can tell you what a cat is. I don't have to be.
Bingo. I am not, what's the people that deal with animals? Yeah, but I know what a lion is, sir.
Be part of the alphabet clan to see how wrong and harmful something you do actually is.
This is
dude
wicked.
Has a son he brainwashed into acting like a girl.
This is
also,
wicked.
let's address the exposure argument. Maybe you shouldn't take your kids to LGBTQ events and expose them to this ideology in the first place.
Exactly.
This child, I was given this child by a doctor who had a penis, and it was like, oh, this is a boy. I'm like, hey, I've got a boy. And
the doctor didn't just decide that. He observed that your kid.
Bro, what are you talking about? The doctor decided. Doctor didn't decide nothing. God decided it. Yo, listen, man. Listen, I'm convinced that the devil got a whole nation of people on the earth that I'm talking about. They literally is offsprings, and they're just morphing around with us human beings when they really aliens, and they just camouflaged as us. Because they, you know, when the angels were, and the devil and the angels were kicked down from heaven, there was an intermingling between man. I think there's an actual lineage, a bloodline of the devil on earth, and I think a lot of these people are related. I'm trying to tell you.
Kid was a boy because you know.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Facts.
you say that she needs to just stop that messing now. You know what I mean? Cut your hair. Go.
You know what? I need that clip. I need that clip. Yo, y'all forgive me. I need that clip, baby. Whoa, I need that clip right now. What? That is priceless. Man, I can't believe they got that clip. I can't believe they got that clip. What? Yo, you know how legendary that clip is? That clip is legendary.
You're just kind of like bandwagoning on what people are saying.
I'm also not a vet, and I can tell you what a cat is. I don't have to be part of the alphabet clan to see how wrong and harmful something you do actually is. This dude has a son he brainwashed into acting like a girl. Also, let's address the exposure argument. Maybe you shouldn't take your kids to LGBTQ events and expose them to this ideology in the first place.
This child, I was given this child by a doctor who had a penis, and it was like, oh, this is a boy. I'm like, hey, I've got a boy. And
the doctor didn't just decide that. He observed that your kid was a boy because you know.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
When you say that she needs to just stop that messing now, you know what I mean? Cut your hair, go back to being a boy, pack on the uniform, and just keep it on the inside. You know what I mean? Marry a woman and just live your whole life, you know what I mean, as a lie.
How is living as what you actually are living a lie? Biology doesn't lie. Genitals do. prove that your kid was a boy because you know.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
When you say that she needs to just stop that messing now, you know what I mean, cut your hair, go back to being a boy, pack on the uniform and just keep it on the inside. You know what I mean? Marry a woman and just live your whole life, you know what I mean, as a lie.
How is living as what you actually are living a lie? Biology doesn't lie. Genitals don't lie. Chromosomes don't lie. The only one lying here is you by just letting your kid ruin their life.
Because it's going to make other people happy. It's like, is that the message we really want to send out to people?
So wait a minute. Let's use his logic. So we're supposed to lie to ourselves, right? And lie to you that we accept your lifestyle, right? Just to make you happy. But you just saying this, right? Listen to this.
Chromosomes don't lie. The only one lying here is you by just letting your kid ruin their life.
Because it's going to make other people happy. It's like, is that the message we really want to send out to people?
Yeah. I'm supposed to make you happy, the other people that I don't agree with, by the government putting out these hate speech laws because I disagree with your lifestyle. And I'm not going to say that a boy, there's more than two genders, because there isn't. So just to make you happy, I'm supposed to change my whole dialect. But you don't want to consider my feelings. That's a heterosexual and somebody that believes in God. Well, guess what? Stay over there and I'll stay over here. Period. Because see, when you really break down these arguments that they put out there, the colorful community is just being bullies. And they're using politics to shove down their ideology and their sexual preferences and practices down the throats of our children. I'm telling you, this is the work of the devil. Period. Period. Point blank. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, for real, bruh. You can't make this ish up. Whoo, boy, I'm hot, boy. Hey, man, listen. Whoo, Lord have mercy. This is the last one I'm gonna react to. This one right here is insane. Insane. Totally insane.
Where to begin the story. I think that there were certain aspects of me psychologically and my temperament that made me susceptible. I was raised in a religious household, and it all pales in comparison to discovering online erotica, and that happened at the age of 9, which would eventually lead to pornography. At the age of 12, I started cross-dressing. And so all of those things combined and built up for years, that was starting to cause issues with my self-esteem, with my peers, the things that I would later refer to as gender dysphoria. I have even thought that it was kind of a fear of exposure that I would later refer to as gender dysphoria because it caused so much anxiety. And this is, I've written about this recently where I went right back to that first time when I started cross-dressing, and I kind of uncoupled a just totally normal, like, procreative urge, but it got twisted up because of the fact that I felt like I had to keep it a secret and hold on to something and possess something, and then getting lost within myself. That was underneath the surface. And already by the age of 16, I was exposed to queer theory and queer activism, this education thing where they passed out these little, the different spectrums of your sex, your gender identity. I got the whole wrap. And so by the time I was in senior year, I was already starting to advocate for that ideology myself. When I went to college, all of those underlying issues kind of boiled over. So much anxiety and self-esteem issues, and then in turn affected my academic performance. Eventually I dropped out with this, like, kind of desire to transition. I remember the drive home from university was this wild trip where I didn't stop. I drove from Tennessee to Oregon without stopping, and I drove through a crazy storm. And in the middle of this blizzard, a story came on NPR about coming out and transitioning and how it was worth it. And I heard that story on the radio, and I was like, I gotta do it. I can do it. So I came home and fell in with a crowd of other kids that I went to high school with who were very brilliant, also getting into non-binary and queer stuff. And that was a crowd of people that would eventually peer pressure me into going to a gender clinic where I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria in a single visit. The clinic was called Transactive. The clinician was a transgender woman. And I was coached through, these are the things you're gonna need to say in order to get this prescription. I started the cross-sex hormones when I was 20 years old, and there was just no gatekeeping at the front. I saw an endocrinologist. I was really concerned about my fertility at the beginning. I kept bringing it up. and I was told repeatedly that the hormones were reversible. I was going to a therapist, and they also kind of encouraged me to deconstruct my thinking about adoption and what counts as a legitimate family. So I had a pretty rocky start to the beginning of my transition. It was making things so much worse. It was making things worse with my family, with my friends, but whenever that would come up in therapy, that was blamed on societal transphobia. And the solution, I've looked at the notes, the solution was like to make the world less transphobic. I got like laser hair removal, and that helped me pass, you know. So I had the hair on my face removed, I started doing my eyebrows. I went to Portland, and there's just all these social services geared towards LGBTQ youth, where I was given free clothes, breast forms. There were trans and queer social workers encouraging me to change my name, my ID, everything. So my whole transition and livelihood ended up being supported by social services. I was housed through these groups. I was provided with friends, with vacation, and other queer locations. I transitioned for like 4 or 5 years. I began meeting other trans women and trans feminine people, and I fell into a crowd where a lot of the men had their testicles removed, and that was kind of sold to me because I didn't have any desire for genital surgery, but these other men were removing their testicles and then saying that this was like a healthier way to transition. They didn't really want the vaginoplasty. They weren't sure. They didn't want to commit to the binary, but if they removed their testicles, then they could feminize more easily. They didn't have to take the spironolactone. Out in the woods, in these kind of anarchist camps that I would stay at, there were older trans women that were creating their own estrogen therapy with like herbs. They put the idea in my head of the orchiectomy, which is eventually what happened to me. I had made some attempts at detransitioning right at the end, and then just a lot happened. I aged out of the homeless youth continuum. I lost my housing. I was going through this terrible spiral, and the hospital had me on their list, and they got me. So I ended up having breast implants inserted, covered on Medicaid, and also an orchiectomy on Medicaid. And like within a month of the orchiectomy, I was suicidal with regret. And I told myself at the same time, it's like I regretted it, but I thought I don't regret it. I was still locked into the transgender ideology. And I believe that regret was part of being transgender. So I regretted it. As Jane Austen might say, I regretted it, but I didn't repent. I think she says things like that. I read Emma. But so I ended up catching COVID, which is what forced me to move back into my parents' house. And it just totally immobilized me. And that's what it took for it just to start falling away. And I woke up, the destruction of my testicles was just too much of the movement to ask of me. I found the Gender Wider Lens podcast, and that was part of what helped me. And a little bit of Twitter was good at helping unpack the ideology. And then I had to get off Twitter. I'm very glad I did that. I started to journal intensively. And I had just a wonderful self-discovery, finding my values. I'm so grateful I was able to reconnect with my grandmother and my grandfather in the last years before they died. So I ended up being a caretaker for my grandmother and my grandfather. I'm so grateful that I got to be with them. And I journaled all the way through that, just having these kind of self-discoveries, unpacking the ideology. There's some very extreme grieving on. I no longer take the word PTSD and trauma so lightly after having bodily damage, because I would wake up screaming, remembering the surgery. I'd wake up screaming no, because I went into the surgery with a kind of awareness that I was going to regret it. I would jump out of bed having flashbacks, and I went through very extreme grieving. It was really hard, but I started testosterone.
Now, that's a lot to unpack with his experience. That's why this is a crazy story, right? But let's stop right there. Having PTSD, waking up screaming from the surgery of removing your testicles. Ladies and gentlemen, men, gentlemen, my brothers, what could motivate you to want to take away your testicles? Oh my God. This is the work of the devil. This is what Andrew Holness is brought to the shores of Jamaica. He has signed off on them pushing this on our children, on our people that are vulnerable, that need psychiatric help, that need counseling. As soon as you go in there, one visit, and you're recommended for gender dysphoria. Boy, if y'all don't see the plot, if y'all don't see the incentives, right, that these doctors is going to get. You see how many of these people talk about suicidal thoughts, and YouTube, I have to say the word, for it is what it is. Trigger warning, ladies and gentlemen, right? These is actual things that people are going through, right? That is in this community, right? Now, this is not the only part of the community, but in the indoctrination in the schools, this is the part that they're pushing the most. This is the part that they're pushing the most, right? This is the dysfunction that they're pushing on our kids. This is ridiculous. Hey, what is going on with my OBS though? Like, for real, something ain't right, bro. Something just ain't right. Something ain't right. Right? Oh. WhatsApp. Baseline background. What happened to that? I've been noticing that from the other day. I'm like, wait, what? What is going on? Let me find it. I think this is it. Yeah. So, now I see what happened. That's what happened. Oh, I moved up. Okay. I'm straight now. I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm straight. But this is wild, man.
Joint replacement therapy in January. It would be months before I could afford to get the breast implants out, but by July of 2021, I was back in the workforce. I've been caring for my family since. It feels great. I'm a machine operator in the cannery where my parents met. My mom's family, because they're farmers, it's like I have a family connection to the place. I've been working there for 2 years now, and I'm getting involved in a community college for automotive technology, which just feels really good. It's rewarding. I have a Substack where I've written about these things that I'm processing, and I'm also working on a memoir where I can get a little bit deeper into the psychology of what led me to transition in the first place. So that's my story.
Whew. Man, listen. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've made my point very, very thoroughly. This is clearly the devil's plan. And our prophets, Sister Carrie Ann, Mark Stewart, I couldn't put everybody on there, but they have done an excellent job, ladies and gentlemen, to warn us and to understand what is happening. All we have to do is listen and pay attention, and we have to share that information with our family members, right? Remember to like, share, and subscribe, man. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. You feel me?